Logan, how's your week been otherwise? Wrestling-wise, you watched a lot of wrestling this week? Figures, I hit record and Logan disappeared. I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure Colin...
Yeah, I thought my mic was on. I was talking the whole time.
Look at that top shelf intro there, Logan.
I watched Monday Night Raw, and then I watched NXT. I thought NXT was decent last night. I didn't expect AJ Styles and them to be on NXT.
Did you watch NWA Power like a good little boy?
No.
What are you doing? You did everything backwards.
I don't feel good. I'll watch it when I get it.
Nick Aldis's valet will definitely make you probably feel better once you watch it. What are you doing?
Twisted Steel and sex appeal.
I'm not trying to get this Jolly Rancher.
He's rubbing Laffy Taffy on his nipples.
Oh.
No, it's Airheads.
Nick, take him out of the wrapper first.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Jesus, Logan. Are you on cold medicine?
He's eating the wrapper.
What the fuck is this gummy? 2-in-1 gummies.
I mean, Nick Aldis does strange things to me too, but Jesus Christ, Logan.
Dude, him in that retro game commercial.
Oh,
hilarious.
That was the complete fucking tits. I love that. That was great.
It's so funny.
These dang modern games.
Oh, I love it.
No, look, that developer did a hell. What the fuck is the name of that developer? Retrosoft? Something. But they did a hell of a job, like, you know, with the whole design of that level.
Yeah, because WrestleFest was fucking awesome. It looked beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I just hope it's not like, yeah, it looks great and we all get it and we play
There's
it.
There's gonna be no gameplay.
Right. I hope it's not something I play for 10 fucking minutes and then I'm like, well, I might as well just play like Fire Pro if I'm gonna do this.
It's gonna be like Fire Pro without any of the options.
Right. Stripped Fire Pro.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Is that are we talking WWE 2K19?
No,
20?
no, hell no. We aren't cussing and throwing things. We're not talking about that. No, we're talking about that Retromania wrestling game coming out that indie developers do, and now NWA's featured in it. It's got like Colt Cabana and the Legion of Doom, the BWO in it. It's like a throwback old school game.
Is it on the PlayStation Store right now?
No, it's not out yet. It's coming out next year. It's going to be on the Switch, PS4, and PC and stuff.
I think everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be cross.
I'm kind of curious to see what this looks like.
But it honestly, I'm just
Maybe
like
it'll
you,
be like
Drew.
a $4.99 game or something.
I hope so. I see him charging 15, probably.
At least 15, 20, maybe 25.
Maybe have like character packs, like over time.
Yes.
Right.
What's it called?
Arena pack.
Retromania Wrestling.
Retro
Mania Wrestling.
I was getting there. I was typing it.
Guys, this is the Alternative episode 5. A little different, a little shake up. Yes, I purposely paused Alternative. That was the joke, Logan. Logan is here. Drew is here. Colin is not here. Colin is actually traveling right now. Where he's at, unfortunately, guys, there's no Wi-Fi. So Colin said, sorry, man, can't make it. But he gave me his blessing. He was like, you got to do it. It's the go-home show to the first ever AEW pay-per-view. I rounded up the best I know, and I've gathered the troops for this. Episode 5. What's going on, guys? Thank you guys both so fucking much for doing this, first and foremost. Drew, my man, how you been?Here can everyone catch you?
Did Colin really say that?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. At Drew Wortman on Twitter, at PW Journal, at KFAVE Today, www.prowrestlingjournal.com for all your wrestling needs.
That Jinko olive oil voice. Very, very good, my friend. Good to have you back. It's been a minute, though, since this guy over here has been on. Logan Hogan, what's going on, man? The owner of FOW, welcome back. Where can everyone catch you and all that good stuff?
You guys can check me out on Twitter at Logan Myers144. Yes, I do sound like I'm stuffed up. I am sick, but I'm here to help Travis out. And you gotta check out FOW right now.
You said that like Razor Ramon for no reason, by the way. I may go up Travis out, man.
And, by the way, Baptized in Hell Part 1 and Part 2. Well, Part 1's actually out already. We still haven't done Part 2 yet, but we will get there.
Liars.
You're a liar. Guys, isn't it crazy we're already over a month into Dynamite on TV?
Yes.
It is. It's flown by a little bit.
It really has, and I think, and just like with NWA Power, it's crazy to think that's been on for over a month. Even NXT now being on USA, and that's a case of every time it's solid wrestling, watching it flies by, the time in general flies by, just length and time, and there's another case of it.
Dare I say that AEW's found somehow with the option of dark streaming, like the perfect amount of wrestling for a company to be providing.
Yeah.
For a new company, yeah.
Logan, you haven't been on The Alternative yet. Drew was on like 2 episodes ago. We talked a little bit about how this whole bullshit about ratings and people freaking the fuck out. We always say, you know, that Cody and the Khans probably fully expected a dip, just like Triple H and the NXT expected a dip. You know, it's when the boom periods happen and then they stick, they don't go away. Those are the numbers you want to keep an eye on, like 2 months from now, something like that.
No, I wouldn't. You got to look at this, okay? The ratings are definitely we're going to go down because of the World Series. That's example number 1. The NFL's back. That's example number 2. You know, NBA's coming back soon, or it already is. You know, ratings are not going to stay consistent on a Wednesday night, in my opinion.
And there's a big difference between a Game 5 and a Game 7 of a World Series.
And there's
Exactly.
there's also a big difference between an episode of Nitro in '99 and an episode of Dynamite in 2019. I feel like where the does ratings matter argument always come into play. We went way into this last episode. That's not what I'm really trying to do here, but I feel like people freak out for no goddamn reason, really, guys. Is what
I
I'm
don't
trying.
think ratings count.
I mean, they count because, you know,
It's
people,
so hard to measure anymore.
networks do want results, you know what I mean? But exactly, it's so filtered down now. There's so many other options in cable TVs, and networks, they have to take this into consideration. They don't have another choice. They can record. They don't have another choice but to take this kind of stuff into consideration, Drew, because there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're not getting the eyes on network television they were 20 years ago. No fucking conceivable possible way. That's just the era of technology we're in.
Yeah,
You didn't have your DVRs back in the day.
I don't know how they track that stuff. Like I have through my cable company, I can stream my cable online. So I open 2 windows and I watch NXT and AEW at the same time, and I just bounce back and forth with the audio.
Mhm.
And how are they going to track that? Saying one show has a rating more than the other? Do they both get a rating? Like
Right. Do you know
somebody watching both?
I can't remember another time in pro wrestling, guys, either where at the end of the day, it's questionable how big the pro wrestling audience really is. Because just like you said, there's no way to really track exact numbers. So there's no way we're counting everybody in these numbers because of digital.
Think about it. A good test of that was nobody expected the whole all-in thing, and then the following of that, and nobody expected it because they were, and that's like a weird example, but the viewership they didn't think was there for where it was at, and then I mean they were there. Who knows how they were watching everything? Maybe like tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of wrestling fans are just like really good at finding streams online.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what I do think matters, guys, and what I think, especially the Khans and Cody and those guys are going to really be paying attention to are buy rates of pay-per-views, and they got their first one coming up this Saturday. Full Gear is in full effect. It's finally here. What a card. What a go-home show Dynamite had this week, guys.
I was thinking, too, on that point, like since WWE went down to the network, if they get a lot of buys on traditional pay-per-view for $60, that says a lot, like, now for wrestling.
It does. It really does. I don't think a lot of fans, part of me thinks that a lot of fans aren't going to spend the $60, but at the same time, the diehard fans will.
And at the end of the day, the ones that aren't the diehards, they just get a bunch of buddies around and throw down $10 each. I mean, it counts.
Yeah. Those are going the people that haven't watched wrestling for a while too, and are like, "Oh fuck, let's get together and watch this."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the old days of going to Buffalo Wild Wings when WWE had a pay-per-view and say, "Hey, the Buffalo Wild Wings showed it for free. All you have to do is pay for food."
And let's just say it now. Like, I mean, for the little bit of TV that we've had and a couple other shows that we've had, I mean, they've already given the fact that there's no doubt this show is going to be good. Like, right?
I've said
Are we
it.
all in agreement that
I've said it. I've said it. It's all documented. Go back on the channel. Cheap plug. Since episode 1, I am surprised week in and week out because this is exactly. I'm in a whole different place than I thought I'd be when I started the show because I thought this was going to be the silly wrestling show. I'll admit it. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I could see that, and just that unexpected of, I just couldn't fathom somebody now, I don't know, being able to put together a wrestling show. I don't know. It wasn't coming together in my head until I actually saw it happening and saw when they talked about having a year's worth of storylines or whatever, they said, like, you can now see it happening and how even in the chaos of the crazy moments and everything, you can see how everything's going down to a plan and it's being executed really well.
Do you think it's a case of it's the first time ever also where besides maybe Eddie Graham way back in the day with Florida and when Dusty Rhodes took over Florida. I know I'm digging deep, but it's the first time ever too where I feel like, yes, we had TNA coming. It was Jeff Jarrett and then Dixie Carter. This is the first time I feel like the owners of a promotion are relatable to the common man. And that's no pun intended. I feel like the Young Bucks are very relatable to a lot of people. I feel like I know those guys kind of thing. And Vince McMahon sure the fuck isn't that, because Vince McMahon is every raging dickhead boss that you dread and you don't want to be around.
Yeah.
Everybody in the AEW side from top to bottom are good guys. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how they kind of come off as. Because they are the wrestlers that started a wrestling promotion.
I do want to get you guys' opinion on something. One of my friends messaged me on October 25th, and he goes, like, it's very... Okay, he said, I'm just not sold on AEW. Too many flips and cruiserweights. And then he went on to say it's like a very flashy production-wise, but there's not much substance to it. The talent doesn't look like it belongs there. I would get rid of 70% of the roster. And then he said Darby, Jungle Boy, Marco, Dark Order, Cutler, Janela, and a few others need to go.
That's a loaded question. I will say I thought he was talking about Raw for a minute.
No, he's literally talking about...
I know, that was the joke. Because, I mean, to base it off, they do too many flips. Ricochet, all fucking AJ Styles. I mean, there you go.
Yeah, and he doesn't even watch WWE. He said he only likes NWA.
Here's my thing. This is the only thing that... It's definitely AEW's weakest aspect. Some of their roster is very fucking indie to look at. Can we all agree on that, too?
Yes.
There's certain guys that just kind of take you off track for a second.
And then there's plenty of guys that do not.
But to their credit, when they have these guys on and they've had them, and look, the one I do like, it's a guilty pleasure. I'm an Orange Cassidy fan. There, you got me. I know Colin's gonna love it when he comes back and he hears this. I don't know. It's something about it. I love the kicks. I can't help it. At least he's not like, the guys aren't selling it. You know what I mean? Like Neville kicked him in the goddamn face. Pac, excuse me. Jesus, that's a bad habit. But what was I even saying? Oh, the indie thing. I feel like what they're doing well with that flaw, they're not focusing too much on them. They're not spending too much time on them during Dynamite. It's kind of like, oh, hey, best friend, see you later. You know, we saw you for a little bit, but we've worn out your welcome. Now here's some serious stuff with like Hangman Page and shit like that. I feel like they're doing better, focusing it back more on, all right, let's get down to the brass tacks and why we really want to be here. Not for like, yeah, it's funny, gaga for a little bit, but don't overdo it. And I feel like they're starting to nail that, Drew.
Yeah, and I think it's, I don't know, I haven't been like, there hasn't been a whole lot to roll your eyes at yet, which is cool. And then, then if there is anything like that, it's not overdone. So you're like, okay, yeah, that's not funny, but whatever, that's fine.
There's so much that they have added, even for the little things that captivate for example, like a character. Like gimmick for Cody Rhodes and all that. You know, this has become very personal. For example, with Chris Jericho, right? And he punched the damn glass window using MJF's scarf.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was tremendous.
And just the little things like that just bring, captivate the storylines, and it also captivates AEW as very entertaining. Because you never see that kind of stuff.
See, if only that would have
WWE.
happened. If only that would have happened before Goldberg did his window incident, he would have learned a thing or two to wrap that shit up before you have to get injured and take time off.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Before we get into Full Gear, I think the gist of this little opening banter is pretty much it's been consistently better than not better. It's been very watchable, and there's really not a lot to bitch about. Yes, there's been some fuck ups, and yes, I get it. And I agree. It is a vanity promotion. I get it. But it's not vanity with Vince McMahon. It wasn't vanity with Eric Bischoff. I feel like almost every promotion in the history of time is a vanity promotion because Fritz Von Erich, Vern Gagne, they all made themselves the champion. That's not a vanity promotion. I don't know. When people say vanity promotion, yeah, it's funny, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's. I don't know. Yeah, that is kind of. Yeah, that's weird.
But let's do it.
Vince McMahon was the fucking ECW championship, for Christ's sake.
He was a belt?
Damn it!
I turned into a piece of metal.
Yeah. But, no, not gonna lie, the only banter I would like to say, and the only thing I would have to say to some of the negativity that I've seen on social media is, for people to say, oh, AEW is better than NXT, or NXT is better than AEW, I'm just going to sit in the middle and say, you're both fucking wrong, because they both been consistently great.
Well, I tell them all, I think I sent a tweet today that someone's doing that, and I was like, well, I mean, NWA is better than all of them, so it doesn't really matter. Let's be honest.
Because I think the best NXT show, the NXT from yesterday, I think it was one of the best NXT episodes in quite a while.
Now I know. Good, Logan.
Well, I was just going to say, in quite a while, and most of the NXT shows, they're good anyway, so how can they top, all the rest of the good ones? Well, they did that because they also teased Finn Balor with AJ Styles and all that. So AEW still consistently, to me, is right there with NXT in the same category and how good they are.
I thought the in-ring, quite honestly, on NXT was better than AEW this week. That Swerve and Dijakovic match was really good, and I feel like people aren't talking about it enough. Drew will be right back. I don't know if you caught that match, Logan. That was tremendous. But I feel like at the end of the day, right now, I got to give the nod to AEW simply because this NXT stuff and this Invasion stuff, it's only here right now because it's Survivor Series time, and it's a cheap way to get buys every year. This year, they just threw NXT in it. So, after Survivor Series, it's all going to go back to one like it never happened, right? At least with the Cody shit, with that tremendous promo we'll get to here in a second, stuff like that, it's going to still matter in 2 months. So I got to go with NXT.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, AEW.
Well, to me, okay, I'll say this right now. Storyline-wise, AEW is definitely on point. And like you said, it's because it's an Invasion thing. I mean, it's not like you said, after Survivor Series, it's not going to really matter too much, because it's going to be over and done with. But I like NXT's storylines, but also AEW has been just perfect with the storylines. Like you said, we're going to talk about the Cody Rhodes promo and stuff like that.
I could do without Brandy Rhodes on my TV pointing at people for 3 minutes straight. It felt like 3 minutes of a point.
Yeah, okay. That part, yeah.
We've got some work to do. It's not everything's perfect in AEW.
No, and nothing's perfect in either show.
Nothing's perfect in any wrestling promotion.
And so I know this is this is not about NXT, but the reason why I'm bringing it up is because you kind of have to talk about both of them.
It's the new Raw and Nitro, Logan. There's no way to talk about one show without at least mentioning the other for a little bit. And I feel like that's my basis right now. It's not going to matter. And I wish it would matter because how refreshing has WWE television felt just in a week and a half? I mean, they didn't have a choice because the guys were stuck in fucking Saudi Arabia, but that SmackDown where they just let the NXT guys do their thing was the best SmackDown all year.
It was actually the best SmackDown, and it was actually rated the best SmackDown in 3 years.
It was pretty good. I mean, let's be honest.
They did a great job for having 175 plus employees stuck in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
They legit had what? If you count the women wrestlers, there was what?
Well, I mean, they've
2 men wrestlers all night that was actually on the main roster, like Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. And
just situations like that, I don't know if Drew's back yet, but I'm sure I'll relay it to him. Situations like that, guys, is when if I'm AEW, I'm hesitant to poke the bear too much because it's scary how much talent WWE has just snapping their fingers if they need a guy. I mean, Jesus Christ. Worst case scenario, quote, scraping the bottom of the barrel would be like a Cedric Alexander, and with proper booking, that guy would be a tremendous, he would get over.
Yeah. Buddy Murphy.
Oh, my God, yes.
He's definitely the best kept secret.
And that's why they've kept them subtle, and they've done exactly what me and Colin have said since day one. They need to do it this way. And Drew and I, and anyone that's ever been a guest talk to AEW, we've all agreed. If you're going to do that shit, don't break out a fucking sledgehammer all the time, once in a while, but do them subtly, like the shots in the vignette this week, the Jericho vignette and stuff like that. When they do the little pokes at WWE, they're funny because they're not overdone,
Yeah, but you do not want to get to the point where you do overdo them because at that point when you do overdo it, yeah, you're just sometimes doing little is better than doing more.
And I feel like that was one of TNA's big flaws back in the day. They would poke. They would. Do you remember the Voodoo Kin Mafia, Logan? It was the New Age Outlaws, but that name was Vince McMahon's initials, and there were every Voodoo Kin Mafia vignette was just every line was making fun of WWE pretty much.
Yeah, so like every left turn, you got something about WWE. Every right turn, something about WWE.
And week one that comes off edgy and cool and rebel. Week 2, all right, it's still pretty. Week 3, When you get to week 6, it comes off like WWE's in your head, and you can't do anything but think and talk about WWE, and that's a bad look, and you don't want that.
And that's what really hurt TNA, right? I mean, TNA in the first couple years did fantastic. Let's be honest.
Right, because they did their own fucking thing.
And that's what AEW needs to do, but they can't make the same mistakes as, what TNA did years down the road. Hiring the Dixies and all that. They got to focus on keeping the pack together and all that. And I feel like they have enough guys together, that they're not going to separate. And it's AEW is going to be able to go for years and years and years. And they might even last longer than WCW and TNA or Impact Wrestling altogether.
Time will tell.
Possible.
Time will tell. We'll tag in Drew when he comes back in and catch him up. Let's get into Full Gear, Logan, because Drew also has work stuff going on, guys, so it's fine. Man's on call. He's a busy man. He's a man of action. He's a man of the people. Good old Drew. But Logan, Full Gear, Baltimore, Maryland, our neck of the woods, our backyard this Saturday. Biggest match, obviously, Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes. Did you see the Cody? I know you didn't watch pretty much any of Dynamite, but did you see the promo and the vignette at least this week? The Jericho vignette and the Cody promo. Holy shit! You need to be like Drew and go away real quick and watch it come back because it was one of the best modern promos I can remember in the last 3 to 4 years was Cody's promo. Honestly,
I will watch the show after or the video. I will. I promise.
I'm going to have to, for the sake of the listeners, because by the time this comes out, everybody knows. And you're going to have watched it by then anyway, Logan. I'm going to have to spoil some of the Jericho stuff for you, though, because it's too fucking good.
All right, go ahead.
This Jericho vignette, I don't want to say parody, because it was a fucking parody. It was totally like one of WWE's serious build-em-up vignettes, right? But there was, at the very beginning, it was like Sammy Guevara and Jericho. It was Sammy Guevara asking Jericho what kind of champagne he would like low carb and shit like that. And it was shot like Jericho was zoning out and whatever, and Jericho just has like Cody Rhodes on his mind, and that's what they were going with, and he says whatever, and he walks off, and he kisses Sammy Guevara on the cheek, and just walks off, and that's how it's, and it's just, after that, you got Virgil in there, literally, it was like a documentary little clip of Virgil talking about Chris Jericho, and he was like, I don't know what GOAT means, but I know Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time, might be the line of the year.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
It's both of these things were must see this week on Dynamite. Anyone that hasn't seen them, definitely make time to go out of your way for sure and make that some of your must see wrestling viewing this week. A+ little segments there. Dynamite wasn't an A+ for me, but those segments they knocked it out of the park. And I feel like with the Cody,
for Christ's sake,
the Cody promo, you could tell it was heartfelt. It was a worked shoot, and it was just like guys used to do back in the day, and that's what made it great. Tony Schiavone stood in ring with him and made it feel more like Nitro, like we were saying earlier.
Oh yeah, every segment that Tony's involved in, it really does remind me of WCW.
And just the lines it was a brilliant little promo, and you know what? I never really even thought about it that way, how Cody said, you talk about me having the silver spoon and I didn't have to earn anything, who my father is, but your dad was a famous hockey player. And like, he totally turned it around on Jericho. It was brilliant. It was executed perfectly. And
I would never think Cody Rhodes or they would bring that, Jericho's dad.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you saw the Moxley promo from like last week or the week before. People lost their shit for that. I thought it was all right. I thought this was a million times better than that promo, quite honestly.
Yeah, last week's I did get to watch his promo, and I did not like it.
It just felt like more of this. I was watching Dean Ambrose again.
It did feel like it was definitely a PG or TV-14 type promo, but it was still felt like a Dean Ambrose. Because it seems like they really want him to say. I mean, I know they're allowed to cut their own promos and say whatever, but it's like he did not know what to say, and they just threw him out there. So he just said the same thing that we've heard in weeks.
It felt like he kind of blanked, and he went to his basics from wrestling school, how to cut a promo, like name the time and the place of the match, so you could drill that in the people's heads. You know what I mean? And just, why is this personal? Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was good, but I wasn't blown away,
I think he was literally last minute throw him out there. Because wasn't it right before the main event or something?
I forget, but either way, Logan.
I think it was.
I feel like when you see this promo, you're going to love it. It's going to really probably change your outlook on Cody Rhodes. It hasn't changed mine. Like, I've always liked Cody. I'm not like, I don't think he's the best in the world, but it's really solid promo. And I mean, even Jim Cornette, I don't know if you saw that one out of his way to praise Cody for this promo this week. Well, Jim Cornette praised something from AEW. That's how good it was.
That says something.
Mm-hmm.
Which Cody has learned from one of the greatest talkers of all time.
Another little-known talent, I don't know if you might have heard of him, a guy named The Rock, also tweeted out today about the promo Cody did. There you have it.
I definitely cannot wait to listen to these promos.
Did you see the clip how Dynamite ended with, it went off air with that brawl with Moxley and Omega and just the whole shebang and the weapons?
I didn't get to see anything of it.
I mean, a lot of people are saying let's get into some of the card. They're more hyped for Moxley and Omega than Jericho and Cody. Let's go Moxley and Omega. Let's get to the match. This is the first feud in the history of this company they've ever tried to build up, is this, from Double or Nothing, right? And I feel like especially with the stipulation Cody added last night with, if he loses this match, he'll never challenge for the belt again. That puts a whole other wrinkle into it. I'm way more invested in this match now.
I think somebody's going to turn.
I think you're a doll, baby, because you snuck in the back door for the hot tag just in time to talk some going down the card, Drew.
Good. That's my favorite part, and I love this card.
Logan. Drew, are you more hyped for Moxley and Omega or the main event?
Okay, first. Okay. So let me say, let's start with Moxley and Omega. Just knowing the other two lights out matches they had, I think this one's going to be off the chain. Like, did you guys watch the the Full Gear Countdown on
No,
YouTube?
I did not.
It's
No.
it's one of the best things AEW has ever produced. Go watch that.
I
It's
will. It's
awesome.
another one on my list. God damn it!
Oh, it's only about a half an hour, and it goes over the main matches, and they should show that on TV. It's everything they put here. But
I still got to watch a couple weeks of The Dark, too.
There's some good stuff in there. But yeah, I don't know, because that one's going to be off the chain, and it's going to be obviously the last match because they have to do it after the card's over. So yeah, I think there's going to be a big something happening for the title match because obviously the stipulations and everything, it's got to be something crazy. So I don't know. They're both. I think I'm more excited for the title match. I think, but yeah.
I can give you a reason why I'm more excited for the main event, honestly. Okay, you've been booking this Moxley Omega match since Double or Nothing, and they haven't done nothing to me since, like to really give it a more personal, rivalry.
I mean, he DDT'd him through a coffee table, a glass one.
That was awesome.
That was awesome, but I mean,
I'll start chanting.
They just been brawling. To me, storyline wise, I'm more excited for the main event. I mean, I know Moxley Omega. This is more personal, where promos don't need to happen every single week.
Yeah,
it's more about the brawling and lights out, like Drew said. So, but for me, I'm always big on the World Championship. I want the prestigious championship to be the main thing and the main event. And so that's why I'm more excited about it.
One thing I want to add to that, too, just like real quick about the lights out matches. I absolutely love that. The fact that they put a lot of thought into the match. It's just a hardcore match. That's it. Just hardcore. Like, they put a lot of thought into it, and it has to be after the card, and they have to do the lights out, quote unquote, thing and everything. And I also like how those don't count towards the records, which makes sense.
It's so
it's
so traditional how they're doing it.
Yeah, and also how Moxley is angry about how it won't count against Omega for losing, in his words.
Oh, and then when that time on TV when Omega slept with the corpse of his ex.
Mm.
Oh, no, wait, no, that was Kane. Never mind.
Oh. But
did you see that? Like, during the commercial break when Jericho and Dynamite this week, the crowd was calling him a dick, like chanting it, and he goes, "Katie Vick, no, I would never do that." But it didn't air.
Some of the shit they say, like that he says, especially just with the, yeah.
What do you guys think? Let's do it. I'm calling you guys out. Logan, you're first. What's your prediction, Moxley or Omega?
I think Moxley got the big win over Janela, but I think Kenny Omega needs it more. I'm going Omega. Getting the revenge.
Drusif.
I think that's the hardest one to predict on the entire card, to be honest.
It is definitely.
And
I know I thought about it really fast and predicted, but you could go either way, Drew.
Well, I don't know. Kenny was kind of on that thing where he was losing a lot just from the beginning, but then he's been on a kind of a hot streak back. And if he's going to be in, I don't know if he'll be in the War Games thing or whatever that is. So, I guess Omega. Well, except Moxley in a lights out match. That's kind of damn. I don't.
Oh, I just
Kenny Omega. I'm going. That's it.
I think since Moxley did get the win over Janela and that one hardcore, whatever.
So did Kenny.
And so did Kenny. So it's like they're both won a match against Janela.
I'm picking just out of guessing because I have no idea, but yeah.
It is so tough. But Travis, who do you got?
My hunch, I'm just going Moxley just because I feel like they're going to go way more long-term with building up Omega because I kind of feel like it's kind of too obvious to put Omega as a top guy, whereas why was there such buzz around Jon Moxley in the first place when he showed up at Double or Nothing? Why should there be interest? And
That's a good point.
I don't know. I just feel like Moxley right now is more the right call. And hell, I mean, maybe I'm predicting two birds with one stone. We can go right into the main event predictions too. Let's do it, Chris Jericho and Cody, because I feel like Jericho's going to win. But see, here's how I'm booking it in my head. And people are going to call me crazy. Maybe not. I feel like I feel like it's not coming down the line. I feel like he's turning at this pay-per-view, and it's going to come out in the storyline where he's the protege of Chris Jericho, not Cody. Because that fits together way more than Cody and MJF.
Let me, I'll give you my thought on that one. That was my exact thought for a long time, watching the stories build and everything. And then it started getting almost like too obvious, where they started teasing it and everything. And then some things I was seeing on like Being the Elite and whatnot is I think it's going to be Jericho, but I think it's going to be Hangman that turns.
You think?
Because of the whole title, he was depressed because of the title loss, and he's pissed off about that for whatever reason. And there's some things on the Being the Elite videos that was kind of like leading into that. So I think it's Hangman that turns on him.
Do you think maybe Hangman isn't getting the reaction they thought he would?
I don't understand why he isn't getting the reaction.
I think he's getting a decent reaction. He had a really big one for the title match just because it was the title match.
True, yeah.
I think he has gotten a decent pop, but I'm kind of just surprised that he hasn't gotten a bigger one, like a Jericho or a Cody.
I feel like putting him out there, I mean, even though he's a great heel, but putting him out there with guys like Pac and just some of the guys he's had to work where, I mean, let's be honest, they have their fair share of fans too. It divides the audience. I feel like people are going to go the other side over Hangman more times than not right now because he's so young, and obviously the resume isn't as big as like a Jericho or somebody with respect in the fans' eyes and stuff.
You ever notice we see that a lot in AEW where all the talent's over for the most part, so it's like they're all going to get some kind of big cheer reaction from the crowd of sorts, it seems, except the heels that are doing a really good job at like MJF and Jericho that obviously you're like, yeah, boo me.
MJF is kind of like being not at like a shitty CC's, but at like a gourmet pizza buffet where it all looks amazing, and you just kind of it's hard to be like, well, they're all over, like. Yeah, right. But who has your favorite ingredients on that slice is the thing, and that's another thing. I feel like there's a character in AEW. I feel like. Literally for everyone, from a Sonny Kiss to a goddamn Moxley but I feel like with WWE, these guys, when you get, and I know this sounds lame and cliche, but it's the truth, and I gotta say it. I'm sorry. When you're doing scripted, it's filtered, watered down promos most of the time that have to get a green light from an out of touch, crazy fucking old man. Everyone's gonna sound and look the same, robotic. I mean, well, who is Ricochet? Who, like, if I'm a casual guy, I never watched NXT, who the fuck is this weird guy? Like, yeah, but now he's dressing like a superhero. We've got no explanation why. They did that with Ali for a little bit, like the fighting on the streets and taking back the streets, like Fatu in 95, but that was like 1 week and they never did it again. Who the fuck are these guys? And AEW does that so much better with such less time a week, which is insane.
Doesn't it make the repetition of the small things like the promos and the everything just stand out so much more now?
Those fucking backstage promos with some drone personality, fucking just those blondes, those random goddamn blondes. They're testing from developmental to hold a goddamn microphone. Those looking, I hate the promos, and I sound just like Cornette, where they don't look right into the camera. They're looking, what the fuck are they looking at over there? I hate those, and they're so much more notable now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, do you do a Dusty Rhodes?
Baby, I try a little bit to do a little Dusty Rhodes. It's not impeccable. It's awful.
I thought it'd be funny to hear Dusty Rhodes talking about Sonny Kiss.
Sonny Kiss, I tell you what, babies. All right, Logan? We all know who I can do. And I'm not waking him up.
Brother.
I just want to throw this out there before I forget. I don't think MJF or Hangman Page is going to turn. I think Cody's going to lose clean to Jericho.
That'd be interesting, to be honest.
With the awesome elbow finisher.
Oh, hell.
That was a great thing in the vignette, too. That part where, like, he was training with that guy holding the pads, and he did the elbow. But it was like, you could tell he over-dramatized it, because it's a ridiculous finishing move.
Now, see, that's... When you see something like that and you realize that probably everybody backstage, everybody involved, the audience, everybody's laughing. Like, it's hilarious. The whole thing was hilarious. It was awesome. And it's like, there you go. That was easy, right? You go for the jokes that people laugh at, and they'll laugh.
We were talking about it while you had to step away for a little bit. The part where Sammy Guevara kissed his cheek in the beginning. The one that nobody's talking about, who I feel like kind of stole the show from me, was Jake Hager. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, he just stood there and did not. And I love the one where he cleared his throat like he was going to say something, and then he just stared. It was fucking great. The Big Hurt. Yeah, it was, man, I got to tell you, one of my favorite things I've seen in years in any wrestling promotion is that vignette alone.
If you think about it, too, that vignette and the Cody Rhodes promo in 1 2-hour show.
Logan's steaming over. I bet his face is beat red because he hasn't seen either. And while you were going, I was like, Logan, you got to check these out. And now, Logan, you're probably super pissed.
So good.
I really am.
You need to take the best of Maven off of your search history and get on it. Doxed. You're doxed. Your Maven obsession. What else? Logan, what was your prediction? You going Jericho clean? Drew, who you got in this match?
Jericho with something. Yep.
I'm putting my foot down. I think Cody's going to lose clean somehow.
I think it's interesting that none of us think Cody's winning. Especially with the stipulation.
I think it's one of those things, like, you notice they're doing things by, I guess, what the average of all the hardcore wrestling fans would want the promotion to do. And I think it's just kind of obvious that everybody wants the titles to mean something, and if Jericho drops it that early, then it's kind of like, all right. And then
it makes no sense.
Cody's on fire, but I just can't see that happening yet. Like, that doesn't make sense in my head at all.
That's not his character as a person, I feel like, either, to just Vern Gagne.
What would he do? I mean, what would he do then? Like, Sting going into War Games as champion. Nah, I'm good. Like,
didn't that happen though? 1 year?
Yeah, 92.
That was the best one.
The best.
The only rivalry that I could see Cody being in is MJF after Jericho.
Has anyone talked about the legalities of, are they allowed to use the name War Games, or are they just going to call it the Match Beyond?
No, they can't use War Games. WWE bought that from
I thought
MLW.
So. Okay. So, but they're going to go with the Match Beyond because they said it like 6 fucking times.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll still add something before it.
Hopefully.
Fuck the Match Beyond.
The Match Beyond, Dream Warriors. I'm just ready for a god. I've yet to see War Games return. When has it returned? Because every goddamn thing I'm seeing are just 2 fucking steel cages Eskimo kissing. And hopefully AEW puts a lid on their steel cage and it's real goddamn War Games.
There's gotta be blood.
And that.
There's gotta be blood. Dustin Rhodes is gonna be a stuck pig.
Either way,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God.
be happy.
Dustin Rhodes.
Man, Dustin Rhodes in a War Games match again.
Logan, I feel like if Dustin Rhodes and Ric Flair, they're the kind of guys that they stub their toe, their foreheads start bleeding.
Like Nate Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. These aren't the only matches, though. We got the tag title match. I know I'm looking forward to this one. I feel like if Private Party wasn't in it, though, I wouldn't be as hyped because those guys have really come on strong for me in AEW.
I thought I hated their music, but it turns out I just really love it.
Yeah, so we got the Lucha Bros versus the Tag Team Champions SCU versus Private Party in the triple threat for the Tag Team titles.
Private Party or Street Profits, go.
Street Profits right now.
Right now, Street Profits.
Yeah, because Private Party don't have much of a personality.
They really don't, and we know Street Profits have the charisma in the ring, and their fucking mic skills, they're pretty dope.
Okay, Lucha Brothers or Beverly Brothers?
Bolsheviks.
But I will say, I think For predictions, I don't think SCU should lose the champions this early.
No way they're dropping the titles.
Especially to Private Party, because that's way too soon. And the Lucha Bros...
I don't know, maybe it'll be one of those things like, oh, look what they did. They dropped them all.
The only champion I can see, actually, I don't know about the tag team.
Is it a no DQ? I can see a schmoz.
I can see SCU retaining.
Triple threat automatically is, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Pretty much, it's no DQ.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because AEW had that one, they had the, what was it, with Jericho and Darby?
Yeah, it was in the desert in Saudi Arabia. Wait.
No, they had they had that street fight, correct? And they had rope breaks and stuff like that, like...
Oh, yeah. Ref fucked up.
I really didn't understand it.
Man, these refs in AEW need to get their shit together, huh?
It's like the NFL.
Jesus. Not that bad. Holy shit.
Yeah.
There's no way. I'm with you. SCU is probably going to retain. And either a schmoz or just... I can see him pinning Private Party. I can't see Luchas losing twice in a row like that. Because for me, that's the team right there in the whole division.
What'd you think about the given the third place in the tournament and having places like the gold, the silver, and the bronze in the tournament?
It was unique. It was... Yeah.
Making it seem legit.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to that real sport factor.
I still want them to do a ranking systems like NWA did in '89, where you have the graphic on the screen. That's what I'm waiting for. I talk about it every time you and I do a goddamn podcast together. There's that ranking system. Somehow I fit it in.
There was number one and then the world champion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. Give me it all.
I guess they couldn't quite yet because a lot of the records are exactly the same in some spots or just like one match. So maybe like after the pay-per-view or by the next year or something they'll do so. I don't know. No, and Tony Khan, that's his like specialty is insane stat analysis. So.
Right. We're on agreement SCU then, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Again, look at that. Trip across the boards. Women's title match, Rio and Freddie Mercury. Guys. Who you got?
She doesn't even pretend she's singing. She just puts the mic up.
Riho.
Yeah.
You said that like Riho. For show. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Again, these titles so early, I just don't think they're going to shit on them.
There's going to be a shocker. We know there's going to be at least a shocker, but it's hard to say I'm going to predict somebody's going to lose the title.
Where I come from and where you come from, a shocker means different things, I guess.
Okay, so do you guys, one, think they're going to ever introduce a mid-card title, and two, which one do you think it'll be?
I think they should, but I don't know.
Television championship.
Television? Yeah, I was thinking that too.
And it'll probably go to fucking Darby first.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be smart.
Man, can you imagine remember the television title back in like the early 90s with Bobby Eaton and Steve Austin, where it was just always like defended and changes hands on like the shows, like.
Well, and even into the late 90s, they gave it for a little bit, not all the time, but that best of 7 Benoit and Booker T.
I was about to say that was the best.
It really was the best wrestling on WCW every week. Yeah. Who? Because I know the artist. I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Everybody fighting for that title right in that time, right? That was so good.
I feel like that's one of those belts in WCW, not named the Hardcore belt, where everybody held at one point too.
Yeah, that's true.
I could see Pac actually holding the mid-card title if they had one. Yeah.
I still hope, and this is what I would do. Eventually, after the new year at least, I'd make Pac my vigilante, like tweener babyface, and have him go after the Inner Circle one by one, and you go Pac and Jericho. That's what I want.
You would make a great tweener.
Because I say it all the time with Colin. What the fuck is there to boo? You know what I mean? Like, if you stop in his promos him shitting on the fans, what's there to boo? He's fucking awesome.
He doesn't really do anything super heelish. He's just an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, kids think he's cool because of his moveset. Adults think he looks badass just because of the whole shebang and his resume and all that stuff.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. Damn it,
I like
Logan.
how they make sure to emphasize that they're saying bastard.
Oh, his whole shebang.
I love how they also still haven't figured out if it's Pac or Pac.
It's Pac.
Like this week especially, I remember like Jim Ross finally got it. He calls him Pac. It only took goddamn 5 weeks, but he calls him Pac, not Pac. And then when he won the match, Justin Roberts called him Pac, and I was like, what is going on?
I guess they told it.
That's why I don't know what to call him on
Pac.
X-Pac.
I thought it was weird.
That's why I don't know who to call him on FOW at times. I'm like, Pac, I don't fucking know. They don't know either, so.
I think for me, I think the low point of Full Gear, guys, the one I'm not really... See, I'm not the biggest Janela fan, and Spears is... I go one way or the other. I'm not looking forward to this match, really. I gotta be honest, but I'm probably going to go Spears, because Christ, besides Nakazawa, that was his first win. He needs an actual bigger... I don't know how credible a win over Joey Janela is, I guess, but I mean, fuck.
Has Joey
I like both these
Janela-
guys, sadly.
What's that, Lou?
Has Janela even got a win either?
Yeah.
He beat one a week or two ago.
So Spears hasn't won a match.
He's won a match. He won on Dark this week against Nakazawa.
Well, I didn't get to watch that yet.
It's very oily. Oh, okay. Tully taking the bump off of the oil was the best.
How pissed off did Tully Blanchard look that he had like oil stuck in his ear? Like he looked pissed.
Oh, I think he was. It was all
What, for Dark?
only because he took the bump on the ring apron, acting like he was slipping on it. That was just
Funny. Okay, sidebar. Funny story, real quick. My girlfriend, for anyone not know, is the epitome of the goddamn casual wrestling fan, right? She only likes guys like
Yeah,
Roman
so
because he's
true.
sexy and Randy Orton because he's
Oh,
sexy. Okay,
John Cena was on Total Divas.
I know him. He's married to Maurice. Yeah, that one of those.
He's got a
Okay.
big dick.
Whoa.
I follow her.
Anyway, I'm watching Dark this week in the living room around like dinner time, whatever. She happens to sit in on the Nakazawa match, and the first thing what the fuck is this? Verbatim, and I was just like, there it is. Because it was that part where Nakazawa did the oil bomb. Right. But I was just like, yeah, what are casuals thinking? And no wonder they haven't given him a match on Dynamite.
So, funny enough, I've been thinking I'm going to try it with the pay-per-view this weekend, hopefully, but I've been thinking about either doing like a follow-up podcast or like writing it up, but like watching an AEW show with somebody that's never really watched wrestling but is aware of WWE and what it's like, and just kind of seeing what their reaction is to the whole thing.
Crooked. Our buddy Crooked.
I thought Drew that you were gonna have me do some kind of review on something.
Nope. I was kidding.
I was going to say Logan with the heel turn, but both of you just turned heels simultaneously on each other. I don't even know what's happening.
With the chair.
But yeah, speaking of chairs, the chairman, Sean Spears. Who you got in this match, Drew?
That's hard.
I don't know if the Spears losing streak is like oh no, he won. Not man, that's kind of tough too. I'm guess Sean Spears. Because of Tully.
Logan.
So you think Tully's gonna get involved somehow?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I don't think Tully's been really a difference maker. Has he? In like any of the big matches?
Like he's gotten involved.
He's a ref distractor.
Yeah, I feel like he's gotten involved. Like he helped Spears win this week, but in like the Cody match, he was more of a detriment when he interfered. I feel like how it was booked.
Yeah, because Arn Anderson came out and all that shit.
Right.
So
Who you got, Logan?
I got Sean Spears. I guess that's the only. I like Janela, but at the same time, he's more of them, hardcore match kind of guy. Where I don't know, I get used to Janela more.
If they want Sean Spears to continue to be like at least a higher mid card guy, then I think.
Yeah, and they're gonna want to book him and Moxley very, very well, and like a Pac. They're going to want to book them very, very well and better than WWE so they can show WWE, look what you missed out on.
Janelle's one of those guys that could lose every match and he's still going to be popular.
Yeah, pretty much, because he's just got that look and he's got that, heat with Jim Cornette.
And you could totally say that also about the Young Bucks, who are in a match with PNP, LAX, whatever you want to call them. And I feel like that's why PNP is going over. That we haven't really gotten a true showcase of PNP. Everyone already knows the Young Bucks and what they do and what they can do. Do you want to make PNP lose out the gate like this, even though the Bucks need a win? It's not going to hurt the Bucks. That's why people that have been bitching about the Bucks losing so much, I'm like, they're the Bucks. It's like if.
Yeah.
It's their turf. It's kind of like, when Steve Austin, after he had that incredible run in like 2002 when he was losing a good bit, I don't know what Austin was so paranoid about if he lost to Brock on Raw. He wouldn't have lost any steam. He was still Steve fucking Austin.
You got a good point on that.
After you guys, when you check out that countdown thing on YouTube, like Santana and Ortiz look like the whole package thing they put together on location for them on that thing was fucking phenomenal, and it'll build this matchup to where it'll at least give you a little bit of like, well, yeah, either of them could really win, and it would be. It would
hurt.
Yeah.
I think it would hurt Santana and Ortiz more than it would hurt the Young Bucks because, Santana, this is their first match. They've been booked to come in here with the Inner Circle with Jericho. You have to have a win, in order to be.
Is it their first match?
This is, yeah.
No, they had like an enhancement match on Dynamite a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They squashed some guys. So
that doesn't count. I'm talking like main.
Technically, it does count because everything counts in AEW.
Well, to me, jobbers.
Except lights out.
Except when you don't pay the light
but
bill.
This is like their main, major match. First match.
This is not just to get PNP credibility. I feel like it's to finally get the Inner Circle some goddamn credibility. Besides Jericho,
Think the winner should get a title shot.
Yeah.
The winner should get a title shot, a gift certificate to Starbucks, and a year membership to Pornhub Premium.
Yes, Cracker Barrel. You can go get some of your country fried steak.
It's good stuff. Other than that, the real big one left is Hangman Page and Pac.
You missed one. Britt Baker.
That's don't really care. I gotta be honest.
Okay. I didn't know.
I hope they brawl. I think they can make it good if they brawl, but that's about it.
That's what she said.
I don't know anything about the
if they were
girl
brawl.
on the right. I know Baker.
She's decent. B. Priestley's all right. It's just
I've never watched her, honestly.
Britt Baker, the best
Britt's
thing. That vignette when they were in Pittsburgh that 1 week, that's the best thing they've done with Britt Baker. But man, she needs to get seasoning in ring big time for me.
Oh, I think it's on on that same thing I keep mentioning. I think it's on the Countdown show where they do a little bit of a thing on them too. And Britt Baker's promo deal on that is actually fucking awesome.
Awesome.
It's good.
I got to get used to some of these people. I really do.
What do you mean, these people, Logan?
Well, the talent.
And Ortiz.
Yeah.
You're talking about.
Uh-huh. The guy in SCU, Scorpio's guy?
I need to get used to, Priestley, and I don't really know much about her.
Well, I know you know a lot about Pac and what he's capable of. I know you know a good bit about Hangman Page. Logan, to cap it off, who do you got to round it out the full gear lineup here? Hangman Page. See, for me, this is the hardest one to pick for me.
I was about to say, this was the hardest one for me to have to go and say,
I think I know.
Hangman, they both need wins, don't they?
They all need wins.
Yeah, everybody needs wins. Okay? But who needs it the most out of Pac, whatever?
Pac's never. Well, Pac lost a tag match, but he's never lost a match.
Still counts. Like Travis said.
If Pac wins this match, then I can see your prediction of Hangman Page being the one to actually turn because of the frustrations of losing.
See, that's kind of why I was thinking, it kind of goes back to my Seth Rollins 31 theory, where you have him losing to Randy Orton early, and then he's a big deal in the main event, regardless if it's a winning thing or anything, but he's like a focal point.
Exactly.
Question.
He's pissed.
Hangman Page has only lost the match against Jericho, technically, right?
He's lost.
Yeah, I feel like he lost to Pac too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he lose to Pac the first
I think
time?
on Dynamite.
That's awful because I'm the only one that does this shit weekly, and I don't even know.
I know it was I know they had a tag team with Hangman Omega with Pac and Moxley, but
Yeah, they won that.
Hangman won that?
Yeah. Because Moxley walked out.
That's right. So technically, I thought Page beat everybody else going into, including the Battle Royal, into facing Jericho. And then he lost to Jericho, and I don't really know
his win
record after that.
Yeah, he did definitely win everything into that, but then...
He's lost ever since Jericho. Besides that tag team match.
Holy shit, I'm lost.
You're lost?
Matches.
At the matches. We'll see you at the matches, bro.
I think... I kind of start... that's the reason why I was asking, because I'm starting to think maybe...
Online now.
Oh, they do?
There you go.
Well, I'm starting to think that Drew's catching on to something with this Hangman thing.
I think Drew's like a Meltzer. Like, he's got friends on the inside. There's a mole.
I know.
It was just... there was this part in Being the Elite where Cody was, like, talking to him. Hangman's all still, like, I think bummed from losing the big title match, and he talks about it every now and then. And then Cody and all of them are kind of, like, he's acting weird around him, and then Cody's like, hey, you know, we all got dressing rooms, and you can come in my dressing room and use it if you want to. Like, you know, like...
Jesus Christ. Logan, I think you're right, man. Like, Drew is, like, so onto something here. I feel like he's going to end up like Ryan Satin and be on a WWE show, like, next week.
He would make... Even look at Hangman's picture on the website on the roster. He'd make a killer heel, and he would make a perfect, like, that guy on the other team for War Games that used to be the babyface.
Yeah. And I think for that reason I said earlier, guys, you know, you got me thinking so much right now on the Page shit. I feel like for that reason that he doesn't have the resume of these other guys that have been around for a lot longer, it's better to start him off as a heel because you always get guys over more when they're a heel first. Well, and then you see their cool sides.
And then you get an entire program with him and Cody before it even gets to the MJF thing, whenever that would even happen, you know? Like,
yeah, and then you'll think, everybody's thinking MJF's going to be the one to turn, and then it is actually Hangman, and you actually have the double turn where Pac is also turns face. Man, there's so many options. So I'm actually going to go with Pac on this one, and because Drew's actually kind of...
You drank Drew's Kool-Aid. Took a swig.
I did.
I'm wrong a lot, though. Like, whenever I come up with this shit, I'm usually wrong.
I don't know. I feel like late at night, man, when no one's around, you wear like a red robe with the hood up and you paint your face weird and you call yourself the Taskmaster because you booked that shit like Kevin Sullivan would. That was really spot on, and I'm going with Pac now. I was going to go Page, but now you converted me too.
But at the same time, if that actually does happen, it's actually very smart. It's really good booking.
Hangman's got a good record. He's 3-2 in singles, and he's 4-4 overall.
So technically, I mean, he did win all his matches before.
Brandon Cutler.
Into Jericho.
Wow.
And then he's lost everything else besides the tag team.
Their website's so awesome. I love this. It looks like a legit sports roster site.
Nice. I have to check it out sometime. Guys, we did it. We rounded out. That's Full Gear. AEW's first pay-per-view coming up. I think it's, fair to say that we're all excited for this. I'm pretty sure they've done a pretty damn good job with the build, and even matches that in any other promotion probably wouldn't matter. I feel like they've given a little bit extra to, and they feel like they matter a little bit more in AEW. And I just get that feeling for a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, I hope I can get a stream on Facebook or something to watch it. Because I cannot afford that one.
Oh, man. We don't condone any illegal stream activities on this show.
I'm talking about Facebook. Everybody's always streaming on Facebook.
Guys, anything else you want to say about Full Gear, AEW Dynamite from this week before we get out of here? Logan, anything you want to add?
No, I'm good.
You good? You sure?
Yep.
You want a sandwich? You want a drink?
No.
Okay. Drew, my man, it's good to have you back, pal.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think all we can really say is I I think we all agree there's no doubt this will, at the very least, be a good show.
Yeah, I think it would be better than the one pay-per-view that I wasn't too big on. I can't remember what it was called.
There was like Fight for the Fallen, Fighter Fest, and Double or Nothing.
Fighter Fest. I wasn't too big on it.
Are there any UFC events this Saturday, or is this going unopposed?
There's one, but it's early because it's in Russia or something, so it's during the morning or something like that.
Okay. So there's not, pretty much.
There's
no Bellator or anything?
I think New Japan's in California or something, but I don't know if it's a...
So they should be alright.
television.
I wish we could have went to the pay-per-view.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's safe to say that I think the two promotions with the most buzz going right now, and one you wouldn't expect me to say is NWA and AEW. I feel like NWA is the most critically acclaimed pro wrestling show out there. Very rarely do you see any negative on it. And I feel like it's growing a massive following week by week. And if they keep it up with just the quality of their programming, that cult-like buzz that got AEW to the stage it's on now, who knows? Sky's the limit with Billy Corgan behind it, God.
Yeah.
I don't know why it turned into an NWA podcast all of a sudden. My bad. It's late. It's good. Thank you guys again for filling in.
You're welcome.
For Colin.
Anytime, bro.
Guys, have no fear. Colin will be back. He's giving his word next week. Hell or high water. He's just really late. We'll just say he's really late. Drew! One more time before we get out of here, where can everyone catch you and all that good stuff?
On Twitter, at Drew Ortman, at KFAB Today, at PW Journal, and www.prowrestlingjournal.com.
Very
That's what she said.
nicely done.
PW Journal on Instagram.
Logan, Kira Hogan, where can everyone catch you on Twitter? All that stuff.
You guys can check me out on Twitter at LoganMyers144 and Future Entertainment on YouTube. I have a link in the description on my Twitter as well, so for the channel.
There you go. As do I on Twitter at TMD. UnionSmack.BigCartel.com, your official Hibiki TMD merch, the official reset button shirt, Union Smack winter hat coming this winter, and the brand new alternative shirt from this show coming up probably around the first of the year. Look for that. Every now and then, so often, catch me, like Drew said, ProWrestlingJournal.com, Pro Wrestling Journal Podcast. Look for that on the horizon. So much goodness, so little time. This is AEW Dynamite Episode 5. Everyone enjoy Full Gear. We'll see you right here next week with Colin. That's what she said.